Overtime with Aaron O, the Groovesman Show, Concord. I'm also connected with Brittany B and Island Girl Q, Kayla.com. She's on Ready to Love and stuff like that. So a lot of big platforms that I'm also associated with. Regarding this case, I came up here and not somewhat protect Darrell Brooks. I do not agree what he did to all of those people. I don't believe that he agreed to what he did with all of those people. I came up here, what drove me here, because I seen how he was getting treated during the trial.
What do you mean by that?
One, the issue was raised that the judge was related to one of the victim's fathers.
She had a professional relationship.
Yeah, professional relationship, so that means they grew a bond. So you could tell she would be emotionally attached to this trial. Also, I asked the courts, one of the jury knows about this case? They told me that the jury is not supposed to know anything about this case, period. And it's impossible for them not to know.
Of course, at this point, yeah.
Yeah, they even when they started the trial, they knew about this case.
Right.
So that raised a suspicion in my mind that they probably was lying. He raised the issue that a couple of jurors stuck their middle fingers up at him, stuff like that. Again, I understand about the families and stuff like that. No, I'm not advocating for what he did. I'm not taking away of the families that lost their people during that. But he's been charged with intent. And I don't see it was intentional.
Do you think the state proved intent beyond a reasonable doubt?
No, I don't think they proved it. And then a lot of times when he was trying to presume his evidence to the trial, that kept getting objected and sustained by the judge. So I don't think he was really allowed to really prove his case.
Do you think a majority of that, though, is based on him not having a clear understanding of the laws and how to introduce evidence?
Yes, I think that could be possibly it. He represented himself. I like to assume that, in the records it shows that he was suffering from mental illness way before this incident even started. He was suffering from mental illness and stuff like that. He was on medication and stuff for it, all this other kind of stuff. So, and I work in the healthcare field. Actually, I'll go to work tonight dealing with people with mental challenges, challenging behaviors and stuff like that, of that nature. And, we take care of them. They're not in prison, even though a lot of them had did some egregious crimes. But under the guidelines of certain people in the community, they go to a specific facility. Now,
but even he himself, once there was the original motion for mental defect, and then because Mr. Brooks didn't agree with the report, he kind of shot himself in the foot on that.
He shot himself in the foot on that. However, a lot of people with challenging behaviors don't think they crazy. Had he would have never did this crime and would have been onto some other stuff, like try to, act like people would have seen him as a person with mental illness. But since he did this crime, they want to take away the mental challenging part. He was on medication for this stuff. That should tell you right then and there.
Yeah, it's been reported by his mom that he was on medication when he was a child, and once he became an adult, he made the decision to stop taking the meds.
Most people, maybe because he didn't want him to get made fun of and stuff like that, and by me working in the field, when we dealing with people with challenging behaviors, they say all kinds of stuff, but by them having challenged behaviors, people don't usually take that serious of what come out of their mouth.
Right.
I deal with residents that say, I'm finna go home. I could go home. I could take care of myself. 5 years later, they're still there. They never left because the system will not let them leave because they have challenging behavior, even though they possibly couldn't probably take care of themselves. So that's that.
What do you think about the all-white jury?
Yes, it's always that. I was just thinking of that. I had posed this question to a few people of a different race. I said, what if these cops or the jogger people that wasn't cops that killed black people, one of they was trial, they had to go to court, and everybody in court was black? What you think the verdict would be?
Why do you think Darrell Brooks didn't raise questions to that? I mean, it's been talked about that they did an extended search because of the notoriety of this case. So they had way more jury panel originally come in, right? They gave way more exclusions than normal. And out of the extended amount of jury that came in to be questioned, it was reported that there was only one person of color, and that individual potentially Hispanic, but everybody else was white, and now he has an all-white jury. So why do you think that he didn't raise argument on that?
Because black people accept the fact that it never was black people on the jury. It never was going to be black prosecutors, black judges, even though we have black judges. You know, to me, I think that's a very unfair, because we like to sweep everything on the world like racism do not exist. Racism not going to be the motivated factor of the decisions of the courts, stuff like that. Could you imagine if you commit a crime? You're a white guy. Could you imagine you commit a crime, allegedly a crime, against a black person, even if you might be innocent? Because the courts don't go off what's the truth. They go off what you can prove and what is disproved. It's never about the facts of the truth. It's all about what you can prove. Can you imagine you come into the court, the jury is all black, the judge is black, the prosecutor is black, the audience is black, everybody is black. If you committed a crime against a black person, let me ask you, what you think the verdict would be?
In this day and age?
Yeah.
I'd be found innocent.
You really believe that, huh?
I'm white, of course. I have privilege.
Exactly. And you know what? It's funny that you say that, because I talk about this type of stuff on the show. I agree with you. Most black people will look at you totally different and find you innocent. But even if we did have a black jury, I believe a lot of black people find me guilty because how the way we are programmed. We just programmed to shame our own and throw. We got so comfortable and so used to just seeing black people, you know, going to jail or getting deleted, getting killed for the stuff that they do, you know, getting held accountable. We never seen that with whites or anybody of a different color. Like, we never seen that.
I mean, we're starting to see some of that now. Some. It's not.
It's every rare blue moon. They already using our black people to get their Chauvin out. Kanye West is a prime example when he said it was fentanyl that really killed their George Floyd and all this other stuff. So they're using big representation, if you will, of the black community to put this out there because they know black people love Kanye West. So if he say this, that could possibly help Darrell Chauvin out with his trial. You know, but clearly what we saw. You know, it's scary for black people, especially black men. You know, his baby mama, you know, there was money raised for her to maintain her story against Darrell Brooks. And
How do you know that?
I got evidence. Me and my lady friend, it was a Facebook group, and they was posting this type of stuff, which they eventually deleted. But we got we screenshot a lot of that stuff, and we got printouts of that type of stuff, of them raising money for her to maintain her story. And then when you see that when he trying to bring specific evidence against her for credibility, they tried everything in their power to, in which they achieved it, to not bring certain evidence to discredit Erica Patterson. And I've been in jail a few times. I'm a devil, I guess, y'all. But when somebody writes you, he know where that letter was coming from. She was sending him that pictures. She was sending him letters exactly when this incident took place. And I hate to say this, but if I would have to blame somebody else also with this case, also blame Erica Patterson. She's not no victim in this case at all. You
don't think she's a victim of domestic violence?
She might be a victim of domestic violence. However, as a black man myself, I was raised around black people all my life, 37 years of it. One thing I know about black women, they purposely choose certain type of guys. They don't like the nerds. They don't like the guys that gentle and soft and respectful. They call them type of guys lame. These type of guys, domestic violence thugs, is the men who they pick. And when she was living in that abuse shelter, one thing I know for sure, that they're gonna, because I've been through this with my child's mother, their mother, lied about, we never even had a dealings with each other, but they lied. She lied to get into the abuse shelter to receive certain benefits. Also, she was so afraid of this man, on that day when this stuff took place, she called him from Milwaukee. She called him up here. And he kept saying he wasn't gonna come, so she manipulated him with money to come up here as a motivative factor for him to come up here. Then when he get up here, no money and all this other stuff, they get into it. She was not supposed to even be around him. She was violating their order not to be around. She's in abuse shelter. She manipulated the system, getting all these benefits. They put a temporary restraining order. She was not supposed to be around him, but yet she calling this man up here. Then she had a couple of friends with her, which one of the guys, Nicholas, he lied on the stand when he told Darrell Brooks to leave. And he told Darrell Brooks to leave. He not supposed to belong here. He called the police. He said Darrell Brooks smashed off. From the place where they was at, Corey, Nicholas, and Erica, he said he walked them back to the abuse shelter and then came back and seen all this stuff happen. He walked back to Main Street. That's impossible. Where that school at is on White Rock, if Darrell Brooks had been left, if they walked all the way to the abuse shelter on Broadway, that takes about 20 to 30 minutes. Then for him to walk from Broadway to drop them off walking and to walk all the way back to Main Street, that's another 10 to 15 minutes. By that time, all of that stuff took place, was already over with. But he lied on the stand and said he seen people getting run over. Unbelievable. I know that street area. I know that area. I know that was impossible for him to do. I just think some people, want to be a part of something so bad, and they want to fabricate the story to place themselves in there so they can feel like a victim as well.
Are you, since you're here, kind of supporting that he gets a fair trial, not necessarily supporting the acts that he's done? Are you in direct contact with Mr. Brooks at all, or?
He never even seen my face dead in his life. He don't even know I'm supporting him.
So you don't write to each other back and forth?
He never even seen me. He never even seen me. He never seen my face, anything of that nature or that sort. I was watching the trial. Some kept telling me, man, I'm going to that trial because I don't like how they treat him and the issues that he was raising. I was hearing him speak because initially I was with like everybody else. Send him to prison. But once I started seeing the trial, it's actually how the way the courts was treating the man, it drove me to protect him. That's what drove me to protect him. That's what drove me to be faithfully, because I've been here a few times. And that's what drove me to come on here to defend his side. based on how the judge and the courts is treating them. It wasn't a fair trial. Everybody is entitled to a fair trial. Everyone, no matter what's the crime. And another thing that I want to raise the issue about, when I heard all of them people white, when they showed the pure video of him crashing into people, everybody was crying. Made me cry, made me second guess him coming up here today. But I'm like, damn, where was those tears at when a white man was killing black men? There was no tears. Black Lives Matter. They when we came up with Black Lives Matter, they laughed in our face by saying white lives matter too, all lives matter. And we have dead bodies, of black men and black children, whatever. Even though then they raised the issue of black people killing themselves, which white people kill themselves as well. However, black people killing themselves, but if I kill anybody, a black man, white man, I'm going to prison. The thing that we've been having, when people kill black men, black people, they walk, they go home. George Zimmerman wasn't no cop. The joggers wasn't no cop at the time. It's a lot of those cases where people get away with killing black people, particularly black men, and they go home. And not only did they go home, but during the trial, George Zimmerman had a lot of support during that trial. Everybody that killed black people supported the killers, supported the murderers. And in fact, they got paid to support the murderers. So I decided to say, okay, I'm gonna make a stand. I wanna let them know how that feels. When your people get killed by this person, you defend them. It's not a good feeling. Maybe by me coming to this trial for the future, when black men getting killed or black people getting killed, maybe they think twice about supporting a killer, a murderer. That's why my main objective of coming here. And when to go back to the intentional homicide, I don't think it was intent. I could somewhat believe that the malfunction of the car brakes. I know I done drove a car without brakes and couldn't stop. Because initially, he was swerving, trying to blow a horn, trying to duck and dodge people, initially. They even got testimony on that.
But it seemed in those points in that very beginning where he was ducking and dodging people, it seemed like the crowd in the street wasn't as full. There wasn't as many people. Whereas when he continued on, it got more heavily congested with people. So
that even made more sense of that's not intent. Because you just said in the beginning it wasn't that many people. So he was going hard. He was able to duck and dodge those people. But as soon as it became congested with full of people, there's no way to turn.
So you don't think it's intentional, though, that he continued to drive through many people?
I believe the story, he probably couldn't stop. If that was an intent, 30 miles per hour would have been laughable. Intent, if I was intentionally trying to kill somebody, if you was intentionally trying to kill somebody, it wouldn't have been no 30 miles per hour. It would have been 90 miles per hour. If trying to crash into people, that's intentional. So when he tried to raise the argument that the courts will allow, the courts will not allow that malfunction of the vehicle, that's more believable. That's more. You're not trying to intend to kill nobody at 30 miles per hour. You could have your car on and drive, and the car can reach almost 25 miles per hour or 30 miles per hour. You don't have to have your foot on the gas to drive 30 miles per hour. You do not have to. So he was fleeing the scene with him and his baby mother and them, and Corey and Nicholas getting into it in our rage. In the beginning, he trying to flee. He already had a warrant and stuff like that. I'm not saying, okay, yeah, he running. However, for this particular case, I don't see intentional. Reckless endangerment, probably, I don't know. But I do believe that this man wasn't intentionally trying to kill people. Because he would have history of it. Why would he wake up one day, Christmas parade, and decided to keep running people over?
I mean, he's got 20 years of violent history.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We all had a lot of violent history. A lot of us just didn't get caught. I'm quite sure you done been in bars.
Oh, I've got my fair share of...
You done been in fights. Come on now, you just that. It's a difference between us. If I get into a fight with somebody, I'm going to jail. That don't mean that I'm a violent person, just that at that particular time I had to fight. You fight, you never been charged with a battery, right? Ever.
I mean, I've got some fractured laws in my time.
Okay. But let's just say you do something today, should they be allowed to bring that up? Since you had them times of fighting back in your past, should it affect your future? Should I say you's a violent man?
No, but I think it depends on whether or not there's a pattern. If I have 20 years of negative history, which I do, right? But then I have a decade of positive history after that, right? Then that shows that maybe those behaviors have finally been corrected. But if that positive, time frame, and I think it's got to be pretty significant, if that's not evident and the negative behavior still continues, then do you not think that, as a society, we can cast some judgment, at least, of this individual just continues to exhibit the same negative, actions and behaviors, and they're not learning.
It's the life that you live. A lot of times you don't plan on violence. Violence is the end to a means to an end. You don't plan on it. It just it had to go there sometimes. If you get caught for it, you get caught. You don't.
Right.
But it's not scripted. It's not planned to get violent with people. Sometimes shit just happens. You don't know, you might get into a violent situation after this day.
Let's hope not.
See, any one of us.
Yeah. All right, cool. Can I get your name for everybody?
Jay Prince for president.
All right.